Hello my dear students, welcome to our English program intended for grade 12. Today we have a very special lesson. We're going to talk about the first period exam. So please have a paper and a pen ready because you need to take some notes. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back, students. We're going to focus now on the first period exam, so please pay attention because we're going to talk about all the components, the major components of your exam. So pay attention to the changes that have been made. Now I want you to look with me. See, this is actually, as you know, this is for grade 12. This is the first period exam. Let's talk about the components of the test. All right. Now the test has seven more important components. We shall start with the first one, which is vocabulary. The vocabulary, as you know, it's about all the important vocabulary items that you have studied. Then the second part is about grammar. The grammar is about the use of structures that you have already studied through present, past, verb, and nouns, and all the components of the structure of English. Then we will talk about functions, and this is actually for the situations that you will need to know. Then I move to sit book questions. The sit book question is number 4, which is about the questions of your course. Now, part number 5 is about writing or writing composition. Number 6, it's about reading, but this time you will have reading comprehension plus summary making about the same reading passage. Number 7, and this is supposed to be the last one, is about translation. Translation, as you know, we have 2 types of translation. We start with number 1, which is from English into Arabic, and this would be 3 to 4 sentences from the reading text. Then the second type is about Arabic to English, and it would be 2 sentences from your textbook or the lessons you have already studied. Now let's have a look on each one of them. Okay, vocabulary. What you study in vocabulary should be stored in your mind. It's all about the meanings of the new words. Now let's see. The first type is you're going to read the sentences and then you choose the correct answers. Number 1, the blank decided that the criminal was guilty and he should be jailed. Now the choices are grievance, welfare, boom, and jury. Now try to notice we have a relation between the words. For example, here we have the word criminal and we have the word guilty, so the most suitable word will be jury. That's right. Now think about the second one. 50,000 people have been blank by the Civil War. Now look at the options. We have valued, necessitated, displaced, and afforded. So if we are talking about thousands of people, they have been displaced. Now move to number 3. The entire organization is funded by blank donations. Incapable, charitable, inevitable, animated. So normally, as I told you, there are a kind of relation between words and each others. Now we have donations, so think about it. Yes, the answer is charitable. Very good. He had all the blank of a great leader: charisma, energy, discipline, and resourcefulness. So we have minorities, liberties, attributes, and appeals. So he had as you know, these are all qualities. It is attributes. Very good. Now, number 5, science has proved that whenever you blank blood, your blood circulation improves. Now, think about this. We're talking about blood. So, what do you do when you give blood? What is the word that means you give blood? Think about that. Yes, take your time. You have 4 options. Okay, see the answer. Donate. Very good, excellent. Now I shall move to the second type of the questions about the vocabulary. Let's see. Now fill in the spaces. It's about some vocabulary items will be provided, and then you should read them carefully, try to know the meaning, and then you read each sentence and choose or fill in the spaces with the correct answer. Let's see one by one. I shall read the words first. Enforce, compassionately, innocent, claimed, invisible, and dire. Number 6, under criminal law, people are presumed blank until proved guilty. Now we're talking about the law. We have someone who can be guilty. So what is the option? What is the right word here? The right word is, yes? What is it? You're right. It is innocent. As I told you, the relation between sentences or the relation between words, we have guilty and innocent. Governments may close and the police blank them. Now think also about the same sentence. We have different options. Yes, which one? Very good. Enforce. Okay. Martin blank that he was with his friends at the time of the murder. Now, if you think of the words here, you have the word murder. And people might be, or Martin here might be accused. So, what do you think he would do? He should? Yes? Correct. Your answer is correct. It is claimed. Now, let's move to see the others. Okay. Using a telescope, Galileo discovered stars that were blank to the naked eyes. Now, actually we all know Galileo, and he used a telescope. Why do you think he used the telescope? Think of the word. Yes, it is. Yes, actually to see the invisible. Invisible here means something that you can't see. Number 10, Islam urges us to treat people who live in dire conditions, and then you have blank. Now this is quite clear. We're talking about Islam, we're talking about how to treat people. So the category of the word here should be an adverb, and this is the only adverb you have here. So the word is compassionately. That's good. Now let's move to talk about the other section. So we have already studied vocabulary and we took examples. It's only about 2 types of questions. You either fill in the spaces or you choose the right answer. Let's move to talk about grammar. In grammar, we have the choice from A, B, C, and D. Choose the correct answers. The student blank had been training well, who won the grand prize. Now, here you need to think. We have 4 options: when, whose, who, and where. Now, how can you know? As you see, there are keys to the answer. Every question has a key. Now, the key here is the word student. Student means what? It's a human being. Now, if you look at the options you have when, and when, as you know, it's for timing. You have which, talking about inhuman beings. And also we have who, which is about human being. Actually, where cannot be the right answer because it is a place. So, yes, very good. It is who. Blank becoming a lawyer, like his father. Adil choose to become a policeman. Now, here also we have a key. Look at the sentence very well. What is the key here? We have becoming. The word becoming is a verb plus ing. It's a gerund. Now, if we're talking about gerunds, there must be one possible answer. The answer is, as you know, but, whereas, instead of, in comparison with. Now, the only answer is Yes, think about it. What do you think? It is instead of. But the question is, why we cannot take the other options? Simply because each one of them should be followed by a sentence. And when I say a sentence, it means a subject and a verb and a completion. Okay. Yusuf Saleh Aliyan was born blank 1932 in Kuwait. Actually here we still have a key. Try to think about the key. Yes, very good. The key here is 1932. 1932, it is a year. Normally, which one of those comes before a year? Is it on? Actually not, because on normally are followed by or is followed by days. So the only possible answer is in. At cannot be because it's not time, and the from is just a preposition. Now let's move to see the other one. How blank do you go to the gym, Jassim? Now this is a question. You need to choose the right question word. Now from your understanding or from the meaning you can guess and understand. Now let's see the options. When I say how much, does it fit here? Of course not. When I say how much, I'm talking about the price of something or the quantity. And here I'm talking to Jassim. It cannot be right. Then we have how many. How many? It refers to something that you can count. So you may say how many days, how many people, how many oranges. So it does not fit. We have often and far. The word far is used for talking about or asking about the distance. But here we have the only option, which is how often. How often refers to how many times, which suits here. All right. I haven't gone to the public library blank last month. Now let's see. We have for, since, ago, and yet. Each one of them has a significance or has its own use. Now let's see at the key here. What is the key? Very good. Last month. How many options? We have 4 options. The first option is for. For is usually followed by a period of time, 2 days, 3 days. And then we have since, which is normally followed by a point of time. And the difference here is that a point of time means that this is the beginning of the action, but you don't know whether the end happens or not. Also, we have ago and yet. Ago is mainly for the simple past, and yet is normally with the negative sentences, which cannot be the right answers. So here we take since. Very good. Now let's move, see the other ones. This is the second type of question. Second type of question about grammar is that you are given sentences and you will be asked to have a special task or to do something specific. Let's see one by one. Our school has spent a great amount of money on the renovation of our library. Change into passive. When you talk about passive, it means I am going to focus on the object, not the subject. So, first of all, 2 important points to change sentences into passive. The first point is about deciding which part is the object. Now see, we have our school has spent a great amount of money. Now look at the sentence again. What is the object here? The object is, very good, a great amount of money. So this is actually the object. Look at the tense. When I say the tense, you need to look at the verb. The verb is has spent. Now make it passive, change it into passive. We say a great amount of money has been spent. Has plus been plus past participle on the renovation of the school library. Move to number 17. If they had played well. Now this is very easy question, and the rules are very clear about it. We're going to complete. But the main rule here is about the word if. As you know, if is an adverb and it is followed by 2 sentences. If you know sentence number 1, then you can guess sentence number 2. And if you know sentence number 2, then you can guess sentence number 1. If you look at sentence number 1, which is the dependent clause, we have had played. Now, had played, it is past perfect. In this case, the second sentence or the independent clause should include would plus have plus past participle. And then you add the completion. See? If they had played well, they would have won. You cannot say would have. This is wrong. You cannot say would have won. This is also wrong. You have to say would have won. Past participle, the match. All right. Number 18. The old system was complicated. The new system is very simple. Now the word whereas, join. When you are asked to join, it means you're going to link, to connect two sentences. The two sentences should be blended or made into one sentence by using whereas. Now whereas is mainly used to link two sentences with contrast in meaning. But how can I know that there is a contrast in the meaning here of the sentences? Just try to define. Look at the keys again. Look at the keys. We have two contrast words. We have complicated, which means very difficult, and that has a lot of details. And we have very simple. Complicated and simple, they are opposites. So let's see how I can join the two sentences by using the word whereas. Okay? Very good. The old system was complicated, whereas the new system is very simple. If you look at whereas, this is important. When you use the word whereas, the conjunction, it should be preceded by a semicolon and then followed by a comma, because punctuation is very important to have meaningful and right sentences. Let's move to see the other one. The police have worked hard on this case. Add a question tag. The question tag has one main function. It means you are making sure that your sentence is right or wrong. You're just trying to know if it is right or wrong when you're talking with another person. So it's normally the opposite. So if the sentence is affirmative, normally the tag question is negative, and if it is negative, the tag question will be affirmative. Look at the sentence here. Have worked. Is it negative? No, it's not negative. It's affirmative. So the tag question should start with the negative form. We have, so how do we say it? We say, very good. We say, haven't they? And as you see, we use the negative form and it should be contracted, or we should use contraction. You do not say, have not they, but you say, haven't they. Let's move to see. Number 20. Telephone and postal services are slow. Computer-based communication is extremely fast. Join with, in comparison with. In comparison with also is used when we compare between two things. Now, we are comparing between two systems here. Now, see, how can I know that we have two opposing or comparison between two things? We have the word slow, and then we have the opposite, which is fast. All right. Now, let's use the word in comparison with. Very good. In comparison with telephone and postal services, which are slow, computer-based communication is extremely fast. Pay much attention to the meaning. It should be correct. Now, the third section. So, we have already talked about the first section, which is vocabulary, in your exam, and then the second section, which is about grammar. Now, section number 3 in your exam will be about the language functions. Language functions, as you know, it's about situations. You imagine, you should use your imagination. You try to think, if I am in this situation, what I would say? How can I respond? Is it good to agree? Is it good to disagree? Or it's better to give your opinion? So it's important to have this kind of imagination. You imagine yourself as if you were in the same situation. But you should be very logical when you give your response. Look at the first situation. Your friend has a lot of clothes and he doesn't know what to do with them. Now, if you are in this position, if you're talking with your friend, he told you that he has a lot of clothes, but he doesn't know what to do. In this case, I think that the best answer, because these situations may have more than one answer, but they should be suitable, the best answer should be related to either suggestion or advice. You may give him a suggestion, suggest something, or you may give him a piece of advice. If you suggest, what will you say? Yes, that's good, great. All right, if you like to give a piece of advice, what your advice should be, let me see. I suggest you give them to any relief agency, or if you want to give a piece of advice, I advise you to donate them for charity. Now notice the difference between the use of words. When you suggest, you say, when you express suggestion, you use I suggest. And when you express advice, you may use I advise you. It's better to if I were you. These are all different ways for expressing advice. Let's see another situation. A new educational center will be opened to serve the whole community in your area. Now we have an educational center. This is a piece of news. How do you respond if you are told that a new educational center will be opened in your area? Now, is it good to use apology, to say I am sorry? Of course not. This is not logical. You've got to be logical and choose a suitable response. So you may use approval or like. If you're using approval, it means that you're saying that you like this, or it's good for you. It's really a good piece of news. If you want to express like, it also happens and it also carries the same meaning. Let's see the answer. That's great. I approve of that. I approve of that center because we really need it. The second situation also needs your attention. Please try to imagine yourself in the same situation. Someone asks you whether you like to watch football matches live or at home. Most of my students like to watch matches, but people may have different views. Now we have two options. You're going to choose one of them. You're going to express your choice. So the best thing to do here is to express preference or like. Now see, if you want to prefer something, you should choose one and favor it to the other. And especially if you look at the word or. When I say or, it means two options. You take either the first or the second. Okay, think about it. How do you express your preference? How do you show that you prefer something to another thing? Very good. Yes, this is the correct answer. I prefer to watch them at home, or I like watching live football matches. Now let's see other situations, and I want you also to use your minds very well. Techno-criminals are easier to catch than traditional criminals. This kind of situation is an easy one because it is related to your course. It is related to a lesson that you studied about techno-criminals and traditional criminals. Now, what do you think of this sentence? If someone told you that techno-criminals are easier to catch, which one is easier, according to your knowledge? Yes, think about it. Very good. Now, here you may express your opinion, or you may express your disagreement, because you know that this is not actually right. So, the answer, think about the answer. Yes? That's good. Yes. See? In my opinion, it's not right. I disagree with that because techno-crimes are difficult to solve. Now, as you know here, I have given you two options or two solutions. But when you give your answers, it's enough to write one logical answer, because a situation, as you know, may be answered in two different ways. So it's enough only to write one answer. Another situation is about your brother wants to drive in the rain on very slippery roads. Now think about that. If you are driving in the rain, can you control the car? Now try to imagine. It's raining and you're driving a car. You cannot control the car very well. So, is it safe? No, it's not safe. Of course, it's dangerous. In case we are talking about dangerous situations, we should express, very good, advice or warning. When you give advice, you tell him not to do, and when you give warning, you tell him about the dangers he might face. See? Don't do that. It's dangerous, and you may have an accident. In this case, you're giving him a warning. This is actually a warning. If you're going to give him advice, what would you say? You will say, I advise you not to drive in the rain, or I advise you not to use your car at all at this bad weather. Well, your mobile is not responding, and you want to send an important message. As you know, we are using now a lot of different types of smartphones. Sometimes the programs get stuck and they are not, or the phone is not responding. Now you want to send a message. Imagine what normally in normal life, what do you usually do? It's better to use what? It's better to, okay, to ask for help or to ask for something or a request, to ask politely. Now, what is the best way to request something? What is the best way to ask for help? Think about this, different ways. If you want someone to do something for you, if you want to ask someone to give you or to help you, how do you say it? Yes, very good. You have actually many of them. You may say could, you may say would. Yeah, let's see the answer. Can I use your mobile phone, please? This is one possible answer. The other one is about asking for help. You give reason and then you add why you ask for help. There is something wrong with my mobile. Can you help me, please? Now this is what we call a polite request, because normally when we request people to do something, the request should be polite. Okay, so this is part number 4. In your exam, we have already studied vocabulary, and then we had talked about the grammar, the situations, and this is number 4 in your exam. It's about set-book questions. Now, what is the difference here? Now we should focus on how to answer these questions correctly. You are not going to be given any kind of quotations. You have a direct question, and you should answer the questions in meaningful sentences. So you cannot use phrases. You cannot use to plus a verb. For example, you have to say, to use a subject, a verb, and a completion. Meaningful sentences. See. We shall read the first question, and then we will see the answers. Why are laws important for scientists? I want you to notice again, we are asking about meaningful sentences. Why are laws important for societies? I'm sorry, societies, we need laws. For what? Try to imagine, without law, what would happen in the country? Without law, how can people live safely? I need complete answer, I need meaningful sentences. Now let's see the answer. Laws are important for many reasons. See, we have a complete sentence here. Laws are very important for many reasons. First, they achieve justice in societies. Second, they protect people's rights. Finally, without laws, societies will be living in chaos. What I want you here to know is that you use full sentences, and there must be a unity between ideas. There must be cohesion. You link, connect your ideas. So we use what? We use words like first, second, and finally. This means that I have a sequence of ideas. When you read first, or when someone reads first, he knows that there is a second. And when you read second, then you move to the last one or to the third one. It's important to use them because they help you remember the information accurately. Let's move to number 2. Why are computer crimes more difficult to solve than traditional crimes? So we have 2 different types of crimes. We have, number 1, traditional crimes, and number 2, the technological crimes. Why are they difficult to solve? I need meaningful answer. Don't say because you have to start with the beginning of subject, verb, and then you go on. They are difficult because computer criminals are invisible. Also, computer crimes are very difficult to prove. In addition, nothing is physically stolen or damaged. Now, if you look at the answer, you will know that these answers are connected with each other, and we have words like also, in addition, because they link. So you may use first, second, third, or you may use also, in addition, and furthermore. All right, now let's move to question number 3. As you know, you have already known how to answer them, so try to concentrate and answer the question. Now, why do people leave their countries and migrate to live in other countries? Yes? Okay, that's good. Yeah, now see the reasons. They migrate to other countries to earn more money than they earn in their countries. Also, they seek a better life and a high standard of living. Furthermore, others migrate to escape from wars and destruction. Notice that I'm using here also and furthermore. All right, now see. Question number 4. What are the disadvantages of migration? Yeah, I know it is an easy question. Just try to think about it. People, when they migrate to other countries, what problems and difficulties they face? Let's move. First, countries lose their skillful workers. Second, people lose part of their cultures. Third, many migrants suffer from negative feelings such as homesickness. Now, notice that I have used first, second, third. Now, let's move to another question. Why are human values important? Okay, why are human values important? Very good. Yeah, your answer is quite correct. They help people solve common human problems. Also, they help to understand people of different cultures. Moreover, they identify what should be judged as good or evil. Question number 6. What are the aims of the Red Crescent Society and other relief agencies? Now the aims, Kuwait Red Crescent Society. First, they protect people in hardships. Second, they provide basic human needs such as food, water, and health care. Finally, they participate in rescue operations. This is actually what the rescuers, or they help the rescuers and they help people in hardships. Now, coming to this question, which is about the focus on. What qualifications and personality traits should the person have to be successful diplomat? Okay, let's see the answer. Firstly, he should be a graduate of the college or the faculty of law. Secondly, he should have good command of English. And finally, he should be confident, friendly, and willing to work very hard. Now, the other part of the sit-book question is about Henry V. This is literature, time by William Shakespeare. Okay, we have 3 episodes in your exam, and you have questions about 2 of them. How did Henry's character change dramatically before and after he became a king? In this case, you have to compare between Henry's character before he became a king and after he became a king. Yes, from the incidents or from the events of the story. Very good. See? Before becoming a king, he sat with uneducated people doing futile activities, and he had bad manners. After becoming a king, this is the second part, he became righteous, merciful, and he was remarkably intelligent. The second question is about episode 2. The King of France and the Dauphin had different attitudes towards King Henry. Comment. Now the question here is important. 2 different attitudes. People, here we're talking about the King of France and his son. The King of France knew how powerful King Henry was, and he was fully aware of the threat facing his country. On the other hand. Now notice the word on the other hand means I'm going to talk another or the opposite point. The dauphin, his son, underestimated the king. He believed that he would make an error of judgment and lose the war. The last question is about episode 3. How can a leader like King Henry motivate his army when going to the battlefield? Let's see. It's a leader, the role of the leader. How he motivated his people who are going to sacrifice themselves and their lives in the army. It's in a battlefield. First, he should appreciate their social class and background. Second, he should urge them to be strong and do their best in the battlefield. Third, he should encourage them to be brave to defend their country. This is the last part of the set book, so it is divided into the questions about the 3 units and questions, 2 more questions about literature time. All right, my dear students, we have already explained 4 basic parts of your exam. We shall take a break for a short time, and then we will proceed to the other parts of your exam. Thank you very much. Welcome, my dear students. We shall continue what we have started. We are still talking about the first period exam. It's important, before I complete my explanation about the exam, it's very important for you to know that the exam is only 1 paper. We do not have 2 papers. So all the content that I'm explaining is in 1 paper. Okay, now let's start. We have already finished the book. That was part 4. Let's move to part 5, which is about the writing process. Now let's see, when I say writing or a composition, it means you're going to deal with different types of writing and different forms. Let's have a look about the new forms and the forms that you have to know exactly and how to respond and write them correctly. Let's move to see what are they. Okay, so writing, as you see, when we write, you may write a report, then you may also write an email, then you also will be asked to write an argumentative writing. It's about 2 different views or 2 different points. And then the other type is the pie chart or the bar chart. These are the types and the forms of the writing that we're going to deal with. What I'm going to do is to explain each one of them. I'm going to give you examples and to teach you how to plan and to write these types of writings. Let's see. Now, before we start, it's important to know that any writing or the essay you're going to write should have 3 main parts. What are they? You have the introduction, and then you have the body, and then you have the conclusion. In the introduction, you're going to present your topic and give some information. But in the body, you talk about the ideas and you develop your ideas, whether you are for, against, you give reasons or you give details about the topic. And the number 3 is the conclusion. This is the end, the last paragraph of your writing. This is the end or the conclusion of your writing. Now let's see. Now I shall start with presenting a topic. We will discuss it in details and then we shall proceed to the other types. Let's see. The picture here is very significant. As you know, one picture carries many meanings. The picture here, as you see, it's about people who are moving from their homes. How can I know? Because I can see old people, families, and children, and they are moving, leaving their countries and moving to another. Now you can guess, what is this writing about? What is the task here? So the topic is what? You are asked here to write a report about, yes, more and more people are leaving their homes to live somewhere else. An estimated 214 million people currently live outside their country of origin, and they have moved for different reasons. Now I want you to focus, try to know what you are required to do. In less than 12 sentences, plan and write a report considering the following ideas. So you're going to write 12 sentences, and you will plan these ideas and follow the idea, develop them. The first idea is reasons of migration. So you start counting. This is number one. And then you have the problems you may face. This is the second idea. Now the third idea is feeling of the migrants. Now those are the three main ideas that you're going to deal with in your writing. Let's see how we can plan something like that. So we have three main ideas: reasons, problems, and feelings. Now this is how we start the plan. The plan is about generating ideas, giving details. So the topic is about migration. Then we have the three main ideas: reasons, problems, and feelings. Now we want to write more ideas about each main idea here. The first one, as you know, is reasons. Why do people migrate? Give me reasons. Yes. Number one, disasters, earthquakes, volcanoes happen, so people leave their countries. Yes, the second one is what? Very good, very good. Bad economy. People who have problems cannot get money, do not find what they can buy because they have very bad economy. Jobs. Yes, some people travel and leave their countries to get better jobs. And finally, we have wars. These are the sub-ideas or supporting details of the main idea. Let's move to the second main idea to generate sub-ideas. Problems. The problems here can be related to cultures, like when we have someone who is living in the Arab country and then he moves to live in one of the European countries with different cultures, different customs and habits. What else? Language. If you are speaking Arabic and then you are in another country that speaks English or French or Japanese or any language, this is a barrier or this is a problem. Now the third point should be no jobs. Sometimes you travel to a country, but unfortunately you are not lucky enough to get a job. So we generate ideas about two main ideas. Still we have the third point. Feelings. What do they feel? People who live in another country, they feel homesick. They are eager and want to see their country and their people again. Number two, they feel sad when they face problems and can't really answer or they can't really solve them. And then we have feelings. The bad feeling is lonely, to be alone. He is away from his father, mother, friends, and even family members. Now these are the plan, or these are the main ideas, or this is the plan of the topic. After we write the plan, we can group the ideas together. The same idea will be grouped as follows. See, the introduction. This is the first part, as I told you. In the introduction, we explain the meaning of migration, and then we give examples about migration from the history. So this will be the first paragraph, or the introduction. Then we have the second point, which is the body of my writing. In the body, we write about the details. Okay. Now we have three main reasons. These reasons should be developed in the body. Reasons of migration: seeking better life, financially secure future, political reasons, education, escaping from wars and conflict. We have already mentioned this, but we are grouping them under their main idea. Now move to the second main idea, which is problems: clash of cultures, lack of job opportunity, language barriers, and ethical differences. And then we have number three, feelings: being isolated, homesickness, feeling worry, sad, unhappy. These are all different negative feelings. So we finished the second part of the writing. The third part is about the conclusion. In the conclusion, you give advice to the migrants, and then you suggest, or sometimes you give your opinion for the migrants to cope with problems they face. So this is how you plan your writing. After you plan your writing, you're supposed to write or to start writing. You need to pay attention to the following. When we write, we should pay attention to these pieces of advice. Number one, exposition of ideas, paragraphing, and number of sentences. You have 12 sentences, so you should not write 11. 12 sentences or more will be acceptable. Pre-writing techniques, that's what we have already done. We have planned our topic, brainstorming, mind mapping, or outlining. Then we come to spelling and the grammatical mistakes. If you are writing, try to write correctly with correct spelling and correct grammar. Mistakes will be a right cause to lose marks. And then we have handwriting, spacing, and punctuation. You should add a full stop when you finish a sentence. Start with a capital letter. When you complete your writing, you check the spelling. All right. Remember, the first draft, this is the first time you write your topic, is normally for the flow of ideas, the ideas that you're going to handle. And then the second one, when you check your draft, this is for checking the mistakes. So you write one, and then number two, you check the mistakes. And number three should be the cleanest version, which is the correct one. That's what we mean by report, planning, and writing process. Let's move to the second type, which is argumentative topic. Argumentative topic means that I have two different views, two different points of views about something. For example, people are for something while others are against. People talk about advantages of something while others are against or speak about the disadvantages. You will be asked to write or to choose one point, defend it, and give your reasons. Then you mention the other argument or the counter argument. Let's have a look. This is an example. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Now notice we have agree and we have disagree. So we have two different points here. All citizens under the age of 21 should be required to pass a driving education course before receiving a license to drive. In at least 12 sentences. So notice, we have 12 sentences here. Plan and write. You should plan your topic. A report justifying your answers and considering the following ideas. The appropriate age for taking a driving license. Which do you think is better? Is it 16? A person should be 16, 18, 21 years old before he gets his driving license. Then rules for taking driving license and punishment for rules violation if you don't follow the rules. It's important also to know that in our writing or in the composition question, you will not have guiding words. You only have ideas, and you will be asked to develop, write about these ideas. But how can we plan such a topic? Now, introduction, as we have mentioned and explained before, in the introduction section, you write general information. Then you start for the body. The body, as you know, in the argumentative essay, you have two different views. So, two different views should be added. The first one is about reasons why you are for. And as you know, there you must start with the topic sentence when you give your reasons for something. And then you write the counter argument or the other point of view. In this case, you have to write the topic sentence and reasons why some people are against your opinion or against the topic or the idea. Finally, we come to the conclusion. In the conclusion, you state your opinion clearly. And these are the three main parts: introduction, body, and conclusion. Now let's see. The third type is about charts. In chart writing, you have information or data. Mainly it is related with numbers and some words. You're going to interpret. You're going to change these numbers and some words into complete sentences. Now have a look. The chart below gives information about car accidents in Kuwait in not less than 12 sentences. Still, we're talking about 12 sentences. Describe the information below. Now look at the chart. So this is the number, or it is about the causes of accidents in Kuwait. See the numbers. The numbers have different categories. For example, here we have total accident, total injured, how many people are killed, how many people become disabled, how many people were actually affected badly by those accidents. And then you have the causes at the end, as you see. The causes of these accidents are overspeed, careless drivers, and crossing the traffic. You're supposed to write a complete description of this chart about all the details. Let's have a look. Language of analyzing charts and tables. How can I change these sentences, these numbers and statistics into complete sentences? You have to use the following guide expressions and the phrases that will help you to start and finish your writing correctly. Now here, the chart, and as you know, the chart can be a pie chart like circle, or a bar chart like having bars indicating two numbers and words. The chart or the table shows, you may say reveals, compares or demonstrates. The data suggests, represent, appear or provide, whereas approximately, slightly or more than, and reflecting. This is actually, these words are used when you are comparing between two or three things. Finally, you come to the conclusion. In conclusion, it can be clearly seen, increased, decreased, or gradually. Those are the three types. Now, let's move to part number 6. We have talked about writing. Now we shall talk about reading. And as I told you, in reading, you will have reading questions, and also you will be asked to summarize a piece of writing or a paragraph. In reading, we have to follow some guidelines. Let's see. Tips on reading comprehension. To answer the questions correctly, you have to pay attention to the following. Number 1, always read the question first. Now, some students like to read the text first, which is wrong, because you should have a task. You should have a goal. You are reading for what? What are you reading for? That's why you should start with the questions. So, we should highlight, read the questions first. Then, number 2, make sure you understand exactly what each question requires you to do. This means that you read the question many times, try exactly to know what it needs to be answered. Now, this can be highlighted, stop and take a moment to think. Number 3, do not leave any answers blank. It doesn't mean to write anything, but it means that you should read carefully and try to get the answers. Okay. If the question always or says according to the passage or presented in the passage, this means that you read and the answer should be mentioned and you should find it located in the reading text. Every paragraph has one main idea. The main idea is normally the first sentence in the paragraph. So you should be careful and read it carefully. It's easy to find. Finally, you choose what you think is the best answer by eliminating. Now, when you have question and 4 answers, there are some answers that are clear to be wrong. You eliminate them. You don't focus on them and you choose the others. I'm going to give you an example about that. This is, as you see, try to read it. This is a reading text. I'm just showing you the reading text. It has 1, 2 paragraphs, and this is the 3rd paragraph, because it's important to know the number of paragraphs in your writing. And then we have the 4th one. So we have 4 paragraphs. This is an example of what you should do to answer the reading questions. Look at this. Choose the right answer from A, B, C, and D. We have 2 questions here. First, as I taught you before, read the question and then try to find the answers in the reading text. The most appropriate title, it's about the title for the previous passage, is Math is Not Hard Subject, Math in Nature, How to Be Genius in Math, The Importance of Math. The second question is students' concentration should start with a blank. Reading the section, preparing to study, solving problems, analyzing and memorizing. So we're looking for the title and what should we start with when we concentrate. Look at the text again. Yes, try to locate it. That's good. Now, this is what really makes math difficult is the power that the term mathematics has upon people's mind. So it's not difficult, it's just in your mind. You believe it is difficult. Now, preparing to study starts the concentration. Now I got the answers. Let's have a look again. So, the first one is, math is not a difficult subject. And the second one is, preparing to study, because we have already found these pieces of information in the text. Let's move to other questions. The pronoun them in the fourth line of the third paragraph refers to students' problems, formulas, sections. The underlined word procedures means, now what I want you to think is, we have two words, them and procedures. Try to look again. Yes, this is the word them, and this is the word procedures. Yes, them means formulas. It's mentioned before. And then we have some words. Next one, then, flow. These words that we are talking about, procedures or steps. Okay. Then means formulas. Procedures means what? It means steps. Okay, answer the following question. As I told you, the answer is in your text. Oh, sorry, let's have a look again. Why are many people afraid of failing at math? And why shouldn't the student be tired when studying math? Now, look at the text. Try to get the answers. Underline it. Yes, this is one answer. And this is the second answer. All right, the questions. Why are many people afraid of failing at math? Most students are afraid of not passing because of the reputation the course has of being hard. And the second question is because if a student is tired, he or she may end up taking a lot longer to accomplish what required. All right, now let's see. How much time should the student spend in answering questions, difficult problems, and how should the student handle these problems? So one question is about the timing, and the other question is about how he or she could handle the problems. Look at the text. Yes? Very good. This is one answer, and this is the second one. Let's move to the answers. How much time? The student shouldn't have to think more than 5 or 10 minutes to figure them out. And then we have, how should the student handle the difficult problems? As we find them, actually, he should take them to the teachers who can explain them clearly, and he can have better understanding. All right, summary making is another question that is within the questions of the questions of the reading text. Summary making, when we summarize, as you know, we have to know how many sentences we should mention. We have at least 4 sentences. You should read the text carefully, understand the question, and then you give 4 sentences of your own. In not less than 4 lines or 4 sentences of your own, summarize paragraph 3 to answer the following question. What are the most appropriate ways students should use to understand the material involved? So we have 4, as you know, we have 4 sentences, and you should use your own words. We go to paragraph 3. Yes. What are the ways? This is the answer to the question, is the 4 sentences should be indicating to. Now this is the first one, read all sections. Second one is about he or she should take the formulas. Number 3, you should write them. And number 4, right after this, the student should take a break of about 10 minutes to relax and work again. Now, you have already located and defined the answer. Try to summarize them in your own words. So, this is the question again, and this is the answer. First, they should read the whole section. Second, they analyze the section. Third, they should write the formulas to remember them. Finally, they take a rest to solve the problems in the section. Notice here which word I used. There are some words I used to link them. We have first, second, third, finally. These words are important because they help you to link your ideas. Now, let's move to the final and the last part in your exam, translation. Now, translate the following sentences from paragraph 3 into good Arabic. This means that the translation from English into Arabic is in your text, in your reading text. we have 3 or 4 sentences, you read them and you translate them. Now see, the students shouldn't have to think more than 5 or 10 minutes to figure them out. Instead, he or she should take those problems to the teacher in order to get full understanding of the problems. If a student takes too much time to solve a problem, he or she will get burned out and will end up hating the material. See? So this is actually the direct translation from English into Arabic. Again, it's part of the reading text, 3 to 4 sentences. Okay, now it's written in Arabic, it's quite clear. على الطالب ألا يفكر أكثر من 5 إلى 10 دقائق لفهم المسائل، وبدلا من ذلك يجب على الطالب أن يأخذ هذه المسائل إلى المعلم حتى يستطيع فهم المسائل تماما. وإذا أخذ الطالب وقت طويل في حل هذه المسائل سوف يشعر بالتعب وقد يكره المادة. Now, this is the second type of the translation. You have Arabic sentences and you're going to change them into English or translate them into English. And those Arabic words or Arabic sentences are mainly from your textbook, from the lessons you have already started. إن الحرية لا تعني أن يفعل الإنسان كل ما يتمناه طوال الوقت. فمثل هذا الفعل يعني عكس الحرية. Now see, you get the subject first and then you move to the verb. Now try to answer. Right quickly. Okay, check. Freedom, because normally in English we start with a subject. So the subject here, حرية, this is the beginning, we say freedom. Freedom does not or doesn't mean acting as one wishes all the time. Such an action is the opposite of freedom. Now it's important to know that you should read the sentence carefully, decide which is the subject, because in English we start with the subject and then followed by a verb. And this is the opposite of the Arabic, because in Arabic we use the verb, we can use the verb to start a sentence. Now let's have another look. بالتأكيد فمعظم الثقافات تعرف الحرية كتوازن بين حرية الفرد واحتياجات المجتمع ككل. Again, here we look at the Arabic sentence. We have one word, بالتأكيد. What does it mean? Yes, very good, it's easy. And then you start again the second sentence. You're going to start with the subject. فمعظم الثقافات تعرف الحرية. Now, where is the subject? What is the subject? يبقى كلمة the, yes, ثقافات, this is cultures. Now let's see. Sure, most cultures perceive freedom as a balance between individual freedom and the needs of a society as a whole. Alright, now we have already explained all about translations and the different types. Now, let's see. Before we finish, it's very important for me to tell you again and again that we have only one exam. And in this exam, we have 7 main parts. We have vocabulary, grammar, language functions, sit book, writing, reading, and the translation. What I mean here is that you should focus on the timing to know how much time you will need to answer each question. Pay attention to the details and the questions. Concentrate and focus on each question to get the right answers. Thank you for your attention. I hope you the best of luck. Thank you.